UN Rights Office estimates up to 1,400 killed in crackdown on protests in Bangladesh. At a press conference in Geneva yesterday, Volker Türk, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, presented a report on the human rights violations and abuses related to the protests that took place in Bangladesh between 1st July and 15th August last year. The report is based on a comprehensive investigation undertaken by an interdisciplinary team of investigators from the UN Human Rights Office, including a forensic specialist and weapons expert. This has been an exceptionally important endeavour. On 14th August last year, Dr. Mohammed Yunus, the chief advisor of the Interim Government of Bangladesh, asked me to deploy a team to conduct an independent and impartial fact-finding into the human rights violations and abuses that took place between 1st July and 15th August of last year. I want to emphasize the importance of that invitation by Dr. Yunus, Türk said. The fact-finding team received overall good cooperation from the authorities, as well as access to current and former senior officials and access to a lot of important official information. I would also like to express my gratitude to the many victims and their families, witnesses, medical professionals and other experts, national and international civil society organizations who engaged with and assisted our team, Türk added. Among our key findings, there are reasonable grounds to believe that officials of the former government, its security and intelligence apparatus, together with violent elements associated with the former ruling party, committed serious and systematic human rights violations. These include hundreds of extrajudicial killings, extensive arbitrary arrest and detention, and torture and ill treatment, including of children, as well as gender-based violence. These violations were carried out with the knowledge, coordination, and direction of the former political leadership and senior security officials, with the specific goal of suppressing the protests and keep the former government's grip on power. Women and girls were at the forefront of the early protests, and our report details they were specifically subjected to gender-based violence by security forces and Awami League supporters, Türk said. There are reasonable grounds to believe that certain crimes against humanity have been committed, directed against protesters and their supporters. We also documented serious acts of revenge that private individuals committed against supporters of the former ruling party, police officers, and, in some cases, people belonging to minority and distinct religious groups in the immediate aftermath of the protests. Efforts to ensure accountability have begun, with many cases being lodged, including before Bangladesh's Domestic International Crimes Tribunal. There are major challenges and deficiencies in the current legal system, and significant steps need to be undertaken to ensure compliance with international standards of due process and fair trial, the High Commissioner said. There are also accountability avenues at the international level that can be considered, such as universal jurisdiction, as well as a referral by Bangladesh of this situation to the International Criminal Court, he added. For violations of this gravity and magnitude, however, much more will need to be done than criminal trials. What is needed is a comprehensive process of truth-telling, reparation, memorialization, and reform as the path to national healing. And my hope is that this report will contribute to that. According to the report, thousands of people, including children, have suffered life-altering injuries. Resources will be needed to implement victim-centered reparation programs and provide compensation, long-term medical treatment, rehabilitation care, and livelihood opportunities for victims. The High Commissioner called for Bangladesh to institute profound reforms so that such serious violations will never occur again, and the repressive laws and institutions underpinning them are dismantled or completely overhauled. He said his office is available to advise the government in addressing these issues.